Alright, that's enough of that. We don't need any copyright strikes around here. Hope you guys got the reference. We are talking Bumblebee. Stick around. And welcome back to the web's first must-see comic and nerd culture show. Welcome to Comic Universe, guys. I'm your host, as always, C-Dubs, and I'm riding solo on this video. And guys, we are here to give you our thoughts and review on Bumblebee, the reboot to the Michael Bay Transformer films. I got to say, Hasbro has finally wised up, listened to us, and even though Michael Bay still has producer credits, he is not totally in charge of this movie, and you can tell from the get-go because the fight scenes are coherent, the storyline is coherent, and there's not a big set of testicles swinging around, and there's not an explosion every 5 seconds. We're going to give you the good, we're going to give you the bad, and we're going to give you the badass of this film. Okay, guys, so right off of the bat, I gotta tell you, I had a great time with this film. It was really fun. Me and the wife saw it yesterday. We actually made it a movie marathon yesterday. We saw a couple of movies in the movie theater, and this being one of them. This being the first one, too. We woke up bright and early, went to the movies, and just basically hung out at the movie theaters all day. And I gotta say, it's been a long time since I did that. Had a blast. And this movie set the tone to my day yesterday. I had an absolute blast with this film. I've seen some of the reviews of this film, and most of them are right. This movie does have a real E.T. feel or real E.T. vibe. Like, it follows the check boxes. You know, young adolescent, I don't want to say adolescent in this case, but young person finds space creature. Space creature comes hidden into the house. Doesn't understand anything in our world, so makes a mess, if you will, or ransacks. Someone finds him and freaks out, and then joins the team, if you will, and they go on and on an adventure together, and then the military finds out, and the military comes and trying to quarantine and take care of the situation, and so it checks a lot of the boxes. Now, there are a lot of things that don't fit into that motif, so I don't want to put this movie in a box and just label it E.T. knockoff, because that's not what it is at all. It just happens to follow some of the check boxes, if you will. Now, pardon me. Now, this movie does star a young and up-and-coming actress by the name of Hailee Stenfield that I gotta say, after watching this film, I really, really liked her. She really won me over. At first, I was just a little annoyed with her, the way she was treating her mother, and then I kind of got it. And then once I got it, I understood it, and I can't remember seeing her really in anything else, but I can totally see this movie being her Hunger Games as in Jennifer Lawrence. I can see this young lady being the next Jennifer Lawrence in terms of how Hollywood, this young Scarlet that everyone's flocking to for their films. And I totally can see that, and I would totally support it, and I'm totally behind it because she does a great job. She's very likable. She's a pretty young lady. And, she does a good job acting, too. She really was a big part of the heart of the film. And it is not easy, acting without having somebody to reciprocate or bounce off of. So in those heavy CGI aspect films, sure, sometimes you'll have somebody with a mocap, but it's not quite the same. It's just not. Ask any seasonally trained actor, and they're gonna let you know that it's not the same. That's just the way Hollywood is now. So they have to conform. So yeah, it's just really, really interesting to see how well she did at such a young age. Now, I don't want to sit here and say she deserves an Oscar for her role, but she does do a really good job. And her buddy in the film, I can't remember his name at the moment. His name was Memo in the movie, but I don't remember the actor's name. He was the not ditzy, but kind of nerdy kid who didn't realize he actually was a good-looking man. He's so, his self-esteem wasn't quite there, and he liked her. He was her neighbor, and he wanted to ask her out. He just kind of stumbles upon the situation when he finds out about Bumblebee, and they join together, and they have a moment, and it's really sweet, and I can kind of relate to him, because all of us growing up, when you're not quite, especially when you're first kind of getting into puberty, and you're liking girls and things like that, it's hard to be secure in yourself. It takes years, and it takes, regret, and not regret, it just takes rejection to kind of build that callus to where you understand where you are in your life, and you understand that you're better than what those people say and think. And so I can totally get where he was coming from with his portrayal of that character, and I really dug it and I really liked it, and I think that character speaks to a lot of us, especially in the nerd aspect of society. But just as he didn't realize he had an inner warrior in him, he had an inner ladies man in it, he was a good guy overall. Don't waver from that, man. You don't waver from who you are ever, guys. And trust me, because if they don't like you for you, then they ain't worth your time. And I'm telling you from someone who's been around a little while. But this film, man, it starts off with, we follow Hailee. I don't know her name in the movie. I don't remember. Again, I saw so many movies yesterday. So we start off with her and her family, and we see that she's under hard times, and she doesn't like what seems to be her either new stepdad or her mom's boyfriend. I believe it was her mom's new boyfriend. And we find out that their dad just recently died. And she was a championship level deep diver, if you will, or high diver. And she had, or what her in the video, her dad explains that she had seemed to have Olympic aspects, if you will. Like she was practicing to become a part of the Olympics. But after her dad died, she lost the will to want to do that anymore, and kind of forgot about it. Never went to college, just got a job at the fair, and she just kind of comes in and out. And we actually find out that it's the day before her birthday. And she just has to take care of her little brother. And this movie's really nostalgic, man. I'm telling you, man, everything I saw in this film, from the things in the background, supplies on tables, in the bathroom, things that were used, the aspect in the furniture in the house and in the kitchen, the vinyl and the wallpapering, man, I felt like a kid again. If you were born in the 80s, this movie is going to speak to you just as much as, let's say, the Stranger Things. How that speaks to all of us and gives us those nostalgia goggles. This movie does that, and I don't care for right or wrong. I loved it. And if you are even remotely close to my age, go see this movie on that alone. Forget everything else, Oh, but before we actually get into the humans of the film, the movie actually starts off on Cybertron, and it feels like that video game for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 that we got a few years back called The War for Cybertron. You really see the aspects of these characters. They kind of actually look like they're molded right out of all of that. And we get to see some of the classics, like, Optimus Prime, of course. We all know we saw Starscream in it. We all know we saw Soundwave and Shockwave and Rampage. We get, when he releases the cassette, the only thing I will say is the color scheme is wrong on the actual animal, on the dog, or the panther, or whatever you want to call it, is attacking Optimus. That's the only thing in terms of the classic 1980s Generation 1 feel of the Transformers. It's the only thing I think they got wrong, in my opinion. But after seeing that, made me realize we don't need humans in this movie. We need a prequel. You want to reboot your franchise? Give us a prequel on Cybertron, how all that shit starts, man. That movie will make a ton of money. You don't need anybody, man. Just a CGI fest and we'll be there. I promise. Absolutely promise we'll be there. I know it's kind of hard, and actors don't necessarily just want to be, voice actors or mocap, but I'm telling you, get Andy Serkis in there, he'll take care of all the mocapping for you. He loves this shit. But we need to make this happen. Hasbro, pay attention, man. We want a Transformer-centric, as great as this movie is, we need a Transformer-centric movie with just the Transformers. On Cybertron, showing us what happened, or be adventurous and give us Beast Wars. Give us Beast Wars, I promise you. Just look at the Jungle Book. Watch the numbers Lion King brings in. We're all about watching CGI fests of just talking animals. Trust me, we're into that. And if they can transform into robots, even freaking better, guys. So make it happen, Hasbro. Well, let's get back into the review. And we find out that when she finally finds Bumblebee, Bumblebee had been into a fight, and he actually loses all of his memory cells. And I'm not going to give too much away, but this is where the hijinks comes in. This is where he doesn't realize where he is. He doesn't know how to act. They show how he loses his voice box. We just get to see Bumblebee just basically experience life for the first time, bumbling around like a kid. He's probably is no more smarter than a toddler, because he's figuring out how to talk and communicate. He's figuring out how things works. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know who she is. It was almost like a surrogate mother type thing when they first actually get together. And you can understand, because again, his memory cells are not there. So there's a reason for that connection there, why they dumbed down Bumblebee. But again, obviously he's going to get him back. But the show and the movie does show a lot of heart in that regard, and I really loved it. I fell right into it. John Cena. All right. I'm a huge wrestling fan. I am not a John Cena fan in the world of wrestling. I respect him for everything that he did and his heart and passion for wrestling. Clearly, and I know he's gone on record to apologize to The Rock, but I know he really did have some feelings. He did feel some kind of way to The Rock on how he left WWE and went to Hollywood, and he's kind of going in the same route. And I can totally see him being every bit as good as The Rock, because they almost have that same type of personality where you like and respect the man. And I wasn't a big Rock fan either while he was in wrestling either. So, I was a Stone Cold and Triple H guy. And so I can totally see going in the same direction. With that being said, the beginning half of the film with him in it, he does really well. Then there's a whole middle section where I just didn't feel it. He felt the lines he was giving were forced. He just wasn't being himself. And I think maybe if he was able to ad-lib a little more of his lines, he would seem a little bit more natural. And then by the end, I was kind of back on board with him, and I liked he tied it all up in a bow, if you will. Like his acting was pretty good by the end of it. But in the middle, there's a big section in there where he's just too cheesy, too handball-y, and he's got this big old scar on his face, and he looks like your typical 1980s bad guy, and I get it, maybe that's what they were going for, but I took it in the wrong way, where it's like, damn, if you're going for cheesy bad guy, why? Because this movie had been solid up until that point. And we find out that the Decepticons are trying to come to Earth. They're looking for Optimus because they know that the regime, the Autobot rebellion, is not going to stop as long as the leader is still alive. Cut the head off the snake, it stops moving, basically, is their thought process. So when they finally pick up on Bumblebee's, where Bumblebee actually went off, because he is a scout still, so he goes off and he scouts the planet, and he ends up, unfortunately kind of losing his memory, if you will, but we do find out, that the Decepticons found out where B is. They're trying to get rid of him. We find out how Bumblebee actually gets his name, which was kind of random. Some of the parts in the movie, again, were the sound effects. I liked almost everything. The soundtrack, phenomenal. Loved it. Loved every single song. It was great. I want to own this soundtrack if even half the songs that I heard in the movie are on this. It's great. Total 80s, awesome. I would put it probably right up there with Guardians of the Galaxy in that regard. Just a fun time. But the sound effects, now we're gonna kind of start going into some of the bad here. I gave you some of the good, we're gonna give you some of the bad. Some of the bad here, guys, is that the traditional, one of the things I will say the Michael Bay Transformers did really well was obtain and use the sound effect of the Transformers transforming from Generation 1 animated show. It's not used too much, especially it's like fainting in the background of his transformation. You hear a lot more of the gears, grinds, and clicks and bangs, and then you hear it towards the end. And I'm just like, okay, I hope they're not trying to phase that out, because that's just something iconic. It does come back more when he finally figures out who he is. So I don't know if it had something to do with us just kind of holding on to something that we remembered and then it wasn't there, so we were longing for it. I don't know, it just gave me this weird feeling, but I did hear it more towards the end while the Decepticons were transforming and when B started transforming at the end. I don't know what they were going for, but that's just kind of the way I took it. But it was kind of weird to see a transformation without really hearing that. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm sitting here looking like a fool, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Again, like I said, some of the bad was the middle part of John Cena, and I really feel bad for dogging on him because I liked him overall in the film, and I want him to do more and be better in Hollywood. I think The Rock needs some competition, to be honest with you. I mean, he came in through and just destroyed the buildings, man. He's like the biggest star in Hollywood, and actual actors, if you will, don't stand a chance against this guy. I'm sorry. The guy's just his personality is just too big for even Hollywood to contain. So maybe John Cena can give him some sort of, leverage, or just kind of make him, and who knows, maybe we'll see something maybe in a superhero film, the two of them kind of play off each other. I do know John Cena was rumored to possibly being considered for Captain Marvel, or I should say Shazam, over on DC side, and we already know Rock is going to be playing Black Adam, but we're not going to get that now, but who knows, maybe they'll be in the same movie sometime down the line, and it would be probably pretty interesting to see the two of them, maybe a buddy cop comedy or something like that. I think they would absolutely kill it, in my opinion. Now, another thing that I will say that is a detriment to this movie is some of the stereotypes. It's hard when you start talking about nostalgia, because what do you decipher as nostalgic and what do you decipher as a stereotype? Sometimes it's a very fine line, and sometimes it could be one and the same. Again, with a lot of 80s movies, and especially coming of age movies and teenage movies, you get that stereotype bully. If it's the boys, it's the big bully that beats you up, and if it's the girls, it's that catty, smart ass bitch that thinks she's all that, and all her friends back her up. Basically, Mean Girls. We get that. And I'm telling you, I wanted our actress, I wanted Hailee to punch her in the face so bad. We don't get that. She does get what she deserves throughout the movie, somewhere in the middle of the film. But man, oh man, oh man, I just wanted to see her and especially when she starts ragging on, spoiler alert on this one, she starts ragging on her about her dad being dead. I just wanted to be like, boom! I wanted to reach in the screen. I'm not all about hitting ladies, but if anyone deserved it, that bitch did for that fucking remark. Oh, it just irked me. But it's very stereotypical. I get it. It fits the motif of that 80s feel that we were going for. It served its purpose, but that was maybe one of the downfalls. And her acting wasn't even all that good, and she wasn't even all that attractive either, but it is what it is. I don't really have too much more on the bad side of things, but the badass side, the Transformers in the beginning were absolutely phenomenal. I don't care if it was cartoony looking. Some people are saying that. I don't care if it looked like video game graphics. Some people are saying that. I enjoyed every single second on Cybertron. I want nothing more than that type of a movie to come out, and I will pay triple the admission to go see that film. Right now, saying it. I'm telling you. Another part of the badass was, actually the fight choreography. Now, we are known in our Michael Bay Transformers to just seem like these big giant balls of rocks just freaking rolling around the screen, shaky cam nonsense. We actually get good choreography. You see some actual martial arts movement in Bumblebee fighting, because he is a smaller character, fighting against bigger Decepticons. So some of the arm drag takedowns and things like that, and judo moves, absolutely phenomenal. We get to see Bumblebee's eyes go from blue to red and get pissed off, and him just go ham on the U.S. military. Absolutely badass. I was on the edge of my seat at this point. It was absolutely phenomenal. There's a lot of Easter eggs, from other films and things like that throughout the 80s, scattered throughout. That was really awesome. And again, just being a child of the 80s, it was really, really cool. The only thing I don't know too well is the movie takes place in 1987. And I don't know if everything nostalgic in that movie, everything that's out of the 80s, I don't know if they were from 1987 before, or I don't know if maybe there was a song that actually wasn't out until 88 or 89. I'm not that versed in it. Remember, I was a kid during those times, so I don't know if there's any faulty there, but I enjoyed every single second of this movie. I honestly, I barely have any criticisms. It's definitely in my top 10 favorite movies of the year. Which all of us here, guys, we're going to be giving you guys some of our top 10s. I know Jay already dropped one. But we're going to be giving you a lot of our different top 10s just throughout the year. me myself, I'm gonna try to, because what I do is I keep track of all the movies I watch, and just as a personal thing, I kind of rank them and see where they all fall throughout the year, and maybe I'll go ahead and make an extended series slash videos of just kind of telling you all the movies I've seen, where they all rank, and if it's something you guys are interested in, let us know in the comments below. I'll definitely be giving you at least my top 10. But if you guys want to know, man, I've seen a ton of movies, almost over 100 movies this year alone that came out in 2018. Like if I saw a 2016 movie in 2018, I don't count that. Just 2018 films. I'll definitely do that video for you guys. Just let us know in the comments below, guys. Also, if you have any other ideas or videos that you want to see us do, let us know in the comments below, guys. We're always there listening. We may not be there right away, but we do get back to you guys. I've had some conversations with some of you guys in the past. Also, you can find us over on Facebook and on Twitter. We're not avid Twitter users yet. We got so much going on, but we are there. Trust me. If you do ask us a question or tweet us, we will respond back to you guys. Also, you can find us on Amino. We're actually going to have our own Amino page coming up soon. Right now, we're just in the comics section. All of our links you can find in the bottom below. But we're there. We're also we also do a bunch of other things as well, guys. We do like StarDust reviews, or I do some StarDust reviews. Haven't done one in I would say a couple of weeks, but I'm looking on getting back into it, guys. But you can check all that out in the comments below, guys. Please, guys, give that thumbs up if you like this video. Give it a thumbs down if you don't. Constructive criticism, what we can do to get better, guys. We're trying to grow as a channel. We're all learning here. And until next time, guys, I'm C-Dubs, and I'll see you in the universe. Peace.